Hey, I hope you're doing well. Just some quick thoughts as I'm putting together a new strategy program. I've been thinking a lot about the idea of when to jump ship. In other words, when is the right time? This is just a question I've received so many different ways, so many different times over the years. When is the right time to actually change a strategy and go to a new one? So, just a couple of kind of things to lay the groundwork here, a couple of core ideas or principles or kind of truths. First of all, it's guaranteed you're going to lose a bunch of points even if you win a match. So we're always going to lose a bunch of points. Even if you win pretty easily, like 6-2, 6-1 or something like that, you're still going to lose like 30% or 40% of the points, even in an easy win. So we've got this big chunk of points that it's going to have like a failure because we don't win the points, even though in the big picture we are winning the match. So that's really important to understand. There's also going to be a lot of errors and mistakes. And even if you execute a strategy really, really, really well, you're still going to make some mistakes along the way. And so trying to figure out like where is that tipping point of when do I jump ship? And this is the third thing that really makes it complicated is most really effective strategies in singles or doubles are really simple. It's like it seems too simple. Like, okay, hit cross court when you're on the baseline. Like it really is such a smart thing to do. But it seems like, okay, but surely against this opponent, like I gotta go down the line more, or I gotta try drop shotting more, or I've gotta do a bunch of like sharp angles to beat this person because man, this player is good. But the reality is most of the time if we just stick to the core fundamentals and we just execute the simple strategy really, really cleanly and really well, like that's the best path forward most of the time. But tennis players get so tempted by all the other different things they could try and all the tools in their toolbox that they've been working on. They just kind of chase their tail and they constantly try different stuff throughout the hour and a half, and none of it really sticks. And so they just kind of keep jumping from thing to thing to thing. And that makes it, when you're just unfocused and kind of disjointed like that, it makes it really hard to be successful because there's not a long enough period of time on any one of them to really get much rhythm or get much momentum going, which is a huge part of winning in sports is rhythm and momentum. And if you're constantly jumping from strategy to strategy, you won't ever really build that confidence or comfort level or kind of build the authority in the match of I don't care if you know I'm doing this pattern, I'm going to do it because I know 6 times out of 10 it's going to win. And so there you have it. Like I'm just going to keep rinsing and repeating this. And gaining that momentum over time is a really powerful thing. But if you're going from cross court to down the line to drop shot to sharp angle to now I'm going to hit a high moon ball down the middle, and every time you get a forehand on the baseline, it's something a little bit different. It's just kind of you're just rolling the dice. It's just like playing a lottery ticket at that point, and hoping that the collective like sprinkling of tons of different things is going to shake out in your favor in the end. So I don't have like a okay at 4-4 30-15 you always change your strategy or something. Like I don't have there isn't a rule. I would encourage you to view this as the development of like an instinct, the development of a sixth sense. Like it takes time and experience while at first being conscious and aware, and then over time it can start to become a subconscious thing where you just kind of have that feeling like, oh man, this is just not working out the way I want. But think about it this way. You should start with something really simple and really basic that you know is fundamentally sound based on geometry and based on patterns. You know that it's high percentage. That should always be your starting point. That should always be your plan A. Always, always, always. Singles, doubles. I don't care if you're a beginner, intermediate player, advanced player. Always start with the really simple strategy that just goes right back to basics, and it's based on consistency and margin for error. Period. Always start with that. And then just have your eyes open for the overall trend. And the overall trend needs to be undeniably negative before you jump from that. So, in other words, like 2 games in, it's not enough time yet. You have to give it time to play out. If after the first game, you're like, oh man, even if it's like a break of serve, like you win the toss, you serve, you get broken. I feel like the majority of players at that point are just gonna be like, all right, time to jump ship. Like, all right, well, that didn't work. I gotta try something different. We're only 5 minutes into the match, or maybe if it's a long game, maybe 10 minutes. You have to give it time to breathe. You have to give the percentages and like the statistics time to play out. And 5 minutes is just not enough sample size to know if we're dealing with something that's actually winning or actually losing. So I would encourage you to give a change of strategy at least 2 changes of ends, like at least 4 games before you make a judgment call. That might sound scary. It might sound like a long time, but there has to be enough, like I said, sample size. If you have taken any statistics, classes or anything, we need a large enough sample size to know whether this is an actual trend or just like a one-off. Like, well, we only see 4 points of data here, and like in 4 points in one game, just about anything could happen. Like any fluky thing could happen in one game. But after 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, okay, now we're starting to kind of establish a trend. Hopefully that makes sense. And so I would encourage you over the long term to start to try to develop your sixth sense of, is this a trend or is it just a short-term blip on the radar? If every time there's a blip on the radar, you're changing tactics and changing strategy, it's super hard to consistently be successful. You have to look at the bigger picture and be confident enough to just let stuff play out most of the time. And only once it's a clear trend, that's when you jump ship and you change your strategy. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just something I've been thinking a bunch about recently because I'm trying to be more clear about it, because tennis players are looking for like the definitive like answer. Okay, like if it's Tuesday and an odd number, if it's 11 o'clock, okay, that's an odd number. And if your opponent's right-handed, change strategy. Like the first time it doesn't work. But the reality is, even a winning strategy, remember, even a winning strategy, you're going to lose a bunch of points. So you can't get spooked, too quickly. You can't get spooked too easily, or else you'll just get in that tail chasing rut. And it's so tough at that point to get any kind of momentum and consistency with your wins. So something I'll be thinking more about. I'm going to try to get more clear and like specific about my recommendations here. But it's kind of the best I have right now. So hopefully it gives you something to think about. Keep an eye out for it and keep developing your own instinct about it, and it'll make you a much better competitor. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again soon.